Greetings, Human Life Forums. I'm the Meister, and welcome back to Week 15 of the NFL. Joined yet again by Thomas Bailey, as we are gonna swing right into the thick of things with our records last week. Thomas 9-4, I went 8-5. For the first time in probably over a month, Thomas finally got the trophy. See, has the lovely in-person trophy. Anything you want to say to your fans out there? You finally got it.
Yeah, guys, I just want to say it's been a hell of a year. Go Hitler.
Whoa, okay. Now we're canceled again. Great. But overall records, Thomas is 141-67. I'm 149-59. Thomas trying to squeak back and make this a little interesting the final weeks. We'll see if he can.
Be a big telltale for that.
Yes, it really could. And this will be the first of the games to be the big telltale of that. We got the LA Rams at the San Francisco 49ers, two teams fighting for that NFC West title that is currently being held by the Seattle Seahawks. Rams one game away. Niners are quite a few games away. It's not looking too good for them, but they got a huge bounce-back win against the Bears. Rams had a huge statement win against the Bills last week at home. Thomas, who do you got winning this division rivalry game on Thursday Night Football?
Man, I'm telling you right now, I don't know what it is, but there's something in the water for those LA Rams. They've been one of those really good teams, especially down the stretch here. They're finally starting to pick it up on offense, which has been something that's a little bit inconsistent for them all season. And I get that their defense is young, it's inexperienced, things like that, but you're going up against the 49ers team that's really unhealthy this week. Yet again, a short week for the Niners, so they don't really get that full week to get those guys back healthy. Still going to have a lot of issues. Lenore should be back for this game, I believe. I'm not sure if he was back for the Bears game or not. I think he was, actually, now that I think about it. But either way, go ahead and give me the Rams in this game. I think that they can find a little bit of consistency down the stretch, much like last season. I think this will be a very fun game, a back-and-forth game. It'll be pretty lower scoring in the first half. I think the scoring will really pick up in the second half. But go ahead and give me the Rams 27-20 to win this game, as I think the Rams move one game closer to potentially taking that NFC West.
All right, and you guys know the drill. If you guys want to see any of my score predictions, you can go over to my slideshow videos over on my YouTube channel. About 2 to 3 minutes long. This one will probably be closer to 3 minutes long, considering all the buys are finally done this NFL season. But if you guys are interested in seeing my scores, you can go and check those videos out. But for this game, I also have the Rams winning this one. I want to throw this out there real quick because the Rams really have been struggling in offense. Obviously, besides last week, they exploded onto the scene last week. But it was just the one game, and I feel like they are quickly have gotten a little overrated. I don't know if that's the bias in me saying that, but they are going up against the Niners team that they, in recent history, they kind of have struggled. But like you mentioned, the Niners are really banged up. They finally got a bounce-back win against the Bears, but let's be honest, it's against the Bears. So you can't really take a whole lot from that. But if the Rams offense plays anything like it did last week, the Rams are easily going to take this one. Even though the Rams defense did struggle, they did play pretty well. It was just that factor of the Josh Allen X factor, basically, once it got to that certain point in the game where Allen was basically perfect for that entire second half of the game. There's really not much the Rams could do. But I really don't see Brock Purdy in that offense keeping up pace with the Rams here, especially with all the injuries in the running back position as well. So yeah, give me the Rams to win this one as well to get closer to that potential NFC West crown. As we move in to the Sunday slate of games, we're going to start off with the CBS 1 o'clock window. It is the 8-5 Baltimore Ravens traveling into New Jersey to take on the 2-11 Giants, who I believe should be starting Drew Lock again this week. So we'll see how that goes for him. And Thomas, guessing you got the Ravens in this one, or do you have a big upset here?
Yeah, I have the Ravens in this one. Sorry to Drew Lock and the Giants fans. I really do feel bad for this team. But, hey, I mean, at least after this week, you're going to maintain the first overall pick for right now, at least. You win this game against Baltimore. I think this is one that's not going to be close at all. 31-7 is my score prediction. I could even see a world where the Giants don't score at all in this game. I'll be generous and give them a late touchdown probably. The Ravens offense hasn't been the greatest, but I do expect them to pick it up in this kind of a setting. I think they should do enough in this game. Go ahead and give me the Baltimore Ravens on the road on the road to win this one against the New York Giants.
Yeah, this game could either go one or two ways. I feel like for Baltimore, obviously, I mean, you could probably say it's a trap game. I mean, just looking at the records, you'd be like, "Oh, trap game." But the Ravens have been pretty inconsistent as of late. They've dropped a couple big games here, so I feel like this is more of a get right game than a trap game here for them, especially for the defense too, because the defense has really been struggling for a good chunk of the season. At least the secondary has. So I feel like this is a big game for them just to really start to get things working on like the secondary part of things, which they should because they're going up against the Giants here, already eliminated from the playoffs, all that fun stuff. So hopefully this is a big for Ravens fans. Hopefully this is a big like Lamar stat pat game, and they get the ball rolling and they make this huge margin victory here for them. Hopefully it's pretty early for them too, so they could be a little bit comfortable for most of the game. But give me Baltimore to win this one as well. As we move on to the next game, a very interesting game here, very huge for playoff seeding here, especially for those Miami Dolphins, barely squeaking by those New York Jets last week at home. Now they travel into Houston to take on a very interesting Texans team. They've been pretty up and down this season. Got the 4 seed right now. They have a chance to clinch the AFC South division title this week. Thomas, do they do it? Or do the Dolphins keep their playoff hopes alive in the AFC wildcard race?
Man, this game was one of the most difficult to pick for me. I think this may be right up there with the Eagles and Steelers and Bills Lions for 1, 2, and 3. But go ahead and give me the Dolphins. Go ahead and give me Miami to win this game. 21-20 is my final score. Here's the deal.
Ooh,
Houston, all season, realistically, they haven't really been able to find a groove on offense specifically more than anything. The defense has been consistent enough, but here's a big thing for this game is no matter really where this is played, the Dolphins are going to play well because they're playing in either a dome where it's going to be nice and warm and still, or at home where it's going to be nice and warm. Obviously, being on the road in Houston, it can be a little bit of a different environment being on the road. However, I do think that they do enough in this game. The one big issue for this Texans team is they don't have that good of corners outside of Derek Stingley. I just can't see someone being able to keep up with either Jalen Waddle or Tyreek Hill, whoever's not being guarded by Derek Stingley. And I expect Jonnu Smith to do something, considering last week he did absolutely nothing for the Jets, against the Jets, sorry. So realistically, I think that he has a decent bounce back game here against a pretty mediocre linebacking core as well for Houston. So as long as the offensive line holds up for Miami, I expect this to be a win, and I think they do just enough in this one, 21-20. That Houston offense is slow as it is. They can't really get things going. I think the bye week's not going to make that better. I think it's going to make that worse. Go ahead and give me Miami as the struggling Houston Texans drop another one after the bye week. Miami back to even at 500, 7-7, right there for the final wild card spot with Denver. And then Houston drops a game in an AFC South clinching scenario.
All right, and I'm going to throw out something that I've been saying for quite a few weeks now. If you've been listening to the podcast, you know what I'm about to say. The Dolphins cannot beat teams with winning records, and that's going to continue today. And especially after the fact the Dolphins almost lost to the Jets last week. That scared me so much more about this Dolphins team moving forward. I get the Jets can play hard at any given moment, but the Jets are a crappy team. Let's be honest here. And the Texans have been a very sluggish team. What's up?
The Jets beat the Texans.
Yeah, how long ago was this?
Not that long ago. Also, the Texans offense still hasn't done shit since then.
Yeah, but the big difference here is that the Texans have a winning record here, and the Dolphins against teams with winning record is not good.
Watches this episode.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, Brian. I'm sorry. I said weeks ago I'm committing to this bit. I'm committing to this bit throughout the rest of the season. I really am. There's only 4 weeks to go, so there's only 4 weeks of annoyance from me as a Bills fan to Dolphins fans. That includes Brian. But give me the Texans to win this game. Texans are going to find their groove in this one. Book it, bank on it. Moving on to the next game. We have the AFC West champions for the 9th straight year. 12-1 Kansas City Chiefs, who have a 77% chance to get the number 1 seed in the conference as they travel into Cleveland to take on the 3-10 Browns. Now, this is definitely a trap game. Does the trap get the Chiefs or no is the question.
Yeah, as much as you want it to be a trap game, this is not a trap game. There will never be a trap game as long as Andy Reid is the head coach with Patrick Mahomes throwing the football. Go ahead and give me the Chiefs in this one. I have predicted the Chiefs to win by multiple scores way too goddamn many times. I'm going to have to say that this is
Yeah,
a
no.
one-score game again. I think that they win this one 17-13. I think that this Browns defense shows up. I just think that that offense is going to get much going. Expect the Chiefs to probably be down at the beginning here, like 7-0. I could see to start the game, but like we know, the Chiefs bounce back. Chiefs are always going to end the game with the higher score. Go ahead and give me the Chiefs 17-13 in this one, moving to 13-1. Honestly, I'm surprised it's only a 77% chance that they get the number one seed, considering they'd have to lose 2 games and the Bills have to win out. And they do have, in my opinion, almost the same difficulty in schedule, almost not fully, but similar. So go ahead and give me the Chiefs in this one. I think it's very obvious in my opinion, but we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes. The Bills are second for the percentage, obviously. They have a 17% chance right now, and then we get into the really small percentages after that. But yeah, for this game, I mean, I feel like it's probably, with how the season's been going, it's going to be a very similar story for the Chiefs here. It's going to be a very close game. It's going to be a very defensive game, which, especially with the Browns, I can see it. And in the end, the Chiefs are going to end up pulling this one out. I don't think it's going to take to the last second to beat the Browns here, though. I think they'll have a lead with quite a bit of time to go. I think the defense is just going to absolutely dominate this game. Really this game, lies on the shoulders of Jameis Winston a bit, because we know he can make some huge plays, but we also know that he can make some pretty
huge
bad plays as
upsets
well.
against the Ravens and Steelers this year too.
Yep, exactly. So Winston needs to have a really good game if the Browns want a chance to win. But if you're a Browns fan, I'm guessing at this point you don't really want to win games as much anymore, unless you're the one guy that just likes to upset people late in the season, even though you're already eliminated. So that's our thoughts for that game. Both got the Chiefs. As we move along to the next game, it is the Fox 1 o'clock window. First of which, the 3-10 Jets traveling to the 3-10 Jaguars. A huge game in terms of the draft. Thomas, who do you have staying lower in the draft? Is it the Jets or the Jaguars?
I have the Jags staying lower in the standings. I have the Jets winning this football game 21-10. I think that this Jets defense is going to absolutely have a field day against the Jacksonville offense. They really, as long as they stop the run, Mac Jones is not going to do anything in the passing game. And then on the opposite side here for this Jets offense, they're going up against one of the worst secondaries in the league, and Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson should be able to do everything they want against this team. Tyler Conklin should get involved as well, so expect that. I do think the one thing for this game is going to be the line of scrimmage. Can the Jets defensive line stop the run? And can the Jets offensive line stop the pass rush of the Jaguars in time? If those two things happen, which I expect them to do, I think the Jets win this one handily. Go ahead and give me the Jets 21-10. I think it's going to be a pretty dominating game, unfortunately. If Trevor Lawrence plays, I think that this result could very well be different. But go ahead and give me the Jets to win this football game.
Yeah, give me the Jets as well to win this one. With how the Jaguars played last week, especially against the Titans, that was really tough to watch. I'm glad that that game wasn't on primetime or anything. God forbid, I think I would die. But Mac Jones, I don't know what it is, but it's starting to seem like he's just getting worse every single week he's starting with the Jaguars. I'm not sure what it is, but looking over at the Jets here real quick, they played a really tough game against the Dolphins, which I don't think a lot of people are expecting because, they've been pretty disappointing this season. But they put up a really good fight against a team that's fighting for their playoff lives right now. And so I feel like they got a bit of momentum kind of going into this game. Like, hey, we're competing again. Let's go out here and let's actually finish a game and let's actually beat a team, even though it is a team with a 3-10 record here. But still just a little bit of confidence, maybe a little something, moving on into next season. Who knows, whatever. But both of us with the Jets in this matchup. As we move along to another potentially interesting game, we have the 5-8 Cincinnati Bengals, who pulled one out of their ass on Monday night last night to beat the Dallas Cowboys as they travel into Tennessee to take on the 3-10 Titans. And this game, if the Bengals were to lose, will be eliminated from the playoffs. So huge game for the Bengals. And do they stay alive in the playoff race?
They do, at least for this week. They're playing the Tennessee Titans, who have looked pretty abysmal, especially as of late, losing to the Jaguars last week without Trevor Lawrence. Just an absolutely sad display from that Titans offense. I feel like that's going to be the problem for this team in this game, is going to be the Titans offense. What has been the biggest issue all season for the Cincinnati Bengals? Without a doubt, it's that defense. And if nobody on this Titans team can take advantage of that bad defense of the Cincinnati Bengals, it's going to be a tough game for them. I think Jamar Chase has another big game here. Not really a great secondary he's going against this week. Maybe one-on-one with Snead. We'll see how it goes. Bitter rivals from the Bengals-Chiefs rivalry that we see so often. Either way, though, I do think that the Bengals get this one done. I think pretty convincingly, too. I think they're pretty mad about how they played against the Cowboys to come out with a little bit more competition, a little bit more fight, knowing that their lives are on the line here. Give me a 27-13 Cincinnati Bengals win by 2 touchdowns and remain alive in the playoff picture for at least one more week.
You know, one thing I did just kind of notice, this is going to fantasy real quick, I'm sorry, but I have Devontae Adams against the Jaguars and then Calvin Ridley against the Bengals defense. My receivers might have a pretty good week this week now I think about it. But anyways, back to the topic at hand. Bengals, this game is literally their season. I think there might be a chance they'll probably can get eliminated even if they do win this game. But still, I mean, you got to go out. I think so, right? Because the number 7 seed is 8 wins. So...
No,
it might be 2 more weeks.
Is the Broncos, if the Broncos won this week and then the Bengals win, the Bengals would survive for one more week because the Bengals and Broncos still play.
Oh, interesting. All right, I didn't know that, but
the Bengals
for this game. Survive. So yeah, obviously this is do or die here for the Bengals. So they got to win this game. I think they do. Titans don't really have anything to play for at this point of the season. Bengals offense still has been looking really good, and the Burrow and Chase duo is looking amazing still. Defense is still looking really bad, so I don't think the Bengals should have an issue with outscoring the Titans here, even though, you know, Bengals defense has been letting them down a lot this season. But give me the Bengals to still win this one and keep their season alive for, like you said, at least one more week. As we move on to the next game, speaking of those Dallas Cowboys, we got the 5-8 Cowboys traveling into Charlotte to take on the 3-10 Panthers, which shockingly aren't eliminated from the playoffs yet. It just shows you how their division's going so far this season. So who do you got winning this one? It's one of the more boring games of the week, but still got to predict them.
Yeah, I think I'm going to spice this one up a little bit. I'm going to go Carolina. I think
nice.
The Panthers win this football game. I really do. They played amazing these last couple weeks, and I understand they've all been losses, but at the same time, the Philadelphia Eagles are a top 5 team in the league. Obviously, we know the Chiefs are a top 5 team in the league, and to only lose by 1 possession to both of those teams. And I understand the Chiefs won, but the Eagles, who had been absolutely amazing for so long, they even kept Saquon Barkley in check for most of that first half. They really did look pretty good in that game. Saquon Barkley couldn't do much. And then on the other side, Bryce Young was having a pretty good game for the most part. He had a lot of really nice throws again. And I feel like against a team in Dallas that really is impatient, going up against a team like Carolina, whose offense is okay with just taking the short throws, the 5-yard throws, and just keeping themselves ahead of the sticks. This Dallas defense, headlined by Trayvon Diggs, which we all know he's either the guy who's going to jump the ball and make a huge interception, or he's going to jump the ball and the receiver's going to catch it and then score a 70-yard touchdown. The impatience of this Cowboys defense is going to be what ruins them in this game. Go ahead and give me the Panthers to win this one in upset fashion. I think probably I'll say 20-17 in this game. I think Dallas has a good game, keeps it close, but give me the Panthers in what should be a very fun little upset for this week.
I like it. I'm going to have to go with the other side, though, unfortunately. I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys winning this one. Just after their performance last week and just how that game ended, I feel like they're going to have a sick feeling in their stomach that they're going to want to get rid of really fast, especially for Micah Parsons with how he just stormed off the field the second that game hit zeros. I think the Cowboys defense, I mean, I've been saying it for quite a few weeks. I feel like they're getting better and better. I think, again, even though they did give up 27 points to the Bengals, I still do feel like they're getting better each and every week here, and now they got to go up against the Panthers team here. The Panthers have been keeping games close, But I feel like the Cowboys offense can score points. I think they've shown that the past couple weeks. And, how much do you trust the Panthers defense to really, like hold them under like a certain amount of points, like hold them under 20 points? Do you think the Cowboys will do, or do you think the Panthers will do that? I don't know. And then can Bryce Young and the Panthers offense make enough plays in that Cowboys defense to win them the game here? I'm not so sure about that. So even though they've been playing well lately, give me the Cowboys to win this one. As we got our second game, or is this our first game that we're? No, it's our second game.
Texas
Second game
Dolphins.
we're disagreeing. Yep. So two
'Cause
games
you
to
also
disagree
picked
on
the
so
Rams.
far. What's up?
Because you also picked the Rams, I said.
Yeah. So let's see if we have a third game we disagree on here. Probably not. It is the 8-5 Washington Commanders traveling into New Orleans to take on the Saints. Saints now without Derek Carr for potentially the rest of the season here, as the Commanders are, staying in the thick of this playoff race right now. So who you got here in New Orleans?
I wanted to take a fun little deep dive into this game because on the Commanders side, they have a head coach, Dan Quinn, who used to coach the Atlanta Falcons, division rivals of the New Orleans Saints, fired midway through a season a few years ago. He currently, as of that season, had a 7-4 record against the Saints, and I think that he keeps that rolling in this one. I think the Commanders coming off a bye week, they really understand that even though they're the 7th seed and they're right there in the playoff race, that's not what they want. They want to keep going. They want to reach for higher things. And with the Packers with a tough matchup on Sunday night this week against the Seahawks, that could very well be the case where they make a jump again. I think they're going to play very hard, very quick, and good-paced football game. And I think they get this one done. I feel like Marshawn Lattimore is going to be playing in this game. It's against his former team already.
Of course.
And it's technically a little revenge game, if you will, because it is in New Orleans. So go ahead and give me the Commanders to win this one. For the boys, go ahead, 27-14, a fun one. But Commanders dominate most of this game.
I'm going to have to agree with you here. Give me the Commanders as well. I feel like this game has a really good potential to be done by halftime here, because I remember earlier in the season when the Saints didn't have Derek Carr, it was bad. It was really, really bad. And now they're without him again here. I'm going up against a really solid Commanders defense, in which, like you mentioned, we're probably going to be seeing Marshawn Lattimore, for the first time. And, of course, it's against his former team. It's always funny how that stuff works out. But I think this will be a dominating game for the Commanders. This will be a pretty feel-good game for them as they get into the final stretch of the season here. And like you mentioned, there's a good chance they probably jump in the playoff standings as well to give them a little bit more cushion in these playoffs here as they're rapidly approaching here late into the season. As we move on to the 4 o'clock window on Fox, this is a good game here. It is the 7-6 Buccaneers who just snatched first place of the West, or not the West, the South, from the Falcons, as they travel into LA to take on the current 6th seed in the AFC, the 8-5 Chargers.
This game feels eerily similar to a playoff game where the Buccaneers are that team that went in the wild card round and they won their first game, and now they're playing the team that had the bye. I feel like that's just what this feels like to me, because the Chargers are coming off their bye week and everyone's like, are the Chargers going to be able to really, make some room here? Obviously, the Chargers played the Chiefs this weekend. We understand that, but I'm saying the bye week was recently as well. So because of that, it's interesting. I think the Chargers just show so much fight in these kinds of games, and it's really hard to predict them to lose this one. I think the Chargers win. I think it's going to be very close. It'll be back and forth. But go ahead and give me the Buccaneers to fall in this game, 24-17. Baker Mayfield, I love you, man, but this is a big test for you in the Buccaneers. And if you surpass this, then I'll be with you the rest of the way. But for right now, you got to show me what you can do against Jim Harbaugh and this gritty Chargers team. A beautiful representation of what they can do. And I really like what they've been doing this season. So go ahead, and I'm going to ride with Justin Herbert and the Chargers in La La Land in this one. LA 24, Tampa Bay 17.
I'm right there with you. Give me the Chargers to win this one as well. The Buccaneers, for me, they're one of those more inconsistent teams, I feel like. They definitely struggled against the Raiders in the first half of that game, finally able to pull away in the second half. But for the Chargers, I feel like they're just one of those, consistent teams. Like, I feel like I don't want to say that we know who they are, but I kind of feel like I do because they're really good against those poor teams. They show a lot of fight in the like middle ground teams like the Buccaneers here, and quite a few of those games they win. But when it comes to like those really high up teams, those are games like they play hard, but they ultimately lose in the end. But this is for me one of those middle ground games at home as well. I think the Chargers will win this one. I think the defense will make some big plays. I think Herbert will make some good throws. I think they're going to get the run game going a little bit here, but I do think it's going to be a close game because Baker Mayfield is on the other side of the field, and he's been having a terrific season. So this is definitely going to be a close one, but give me the Chargers to pull this one out in the end and win and advance to 9-5 as we move on to arguably the game of the week if it wasn't for Bills-Lions. Honestly, you could make the argument this is the game of the week. It is the Steelers' current number one spot in the North, 3 seed in the conference, as they travel into Philadelphia, who just locked up a playoff spot last week. The 11-2 Eagles that are currently the 2 seed. Huge game with a lot on the line in this one. And who do you got taking this huge game in the late o'clock window?
I'll say a couple things about this game first here. The Eagles are due for a loss, but we always see the Steelers collapse near the end of the season and reach closer to that 500 record, and so that's a big thing in this game. And on the same kind of topic here, the Eagles and the Steelers are right up there with the Seahawks as the most disrespected teams of 2024 by me personally. So it's very interesting to see which team I'll finally, be like, okay, they have to win, So go ahead and give me a tie in this game. No, I'm kidding.
Okay.
I do think that the Steelers win this football game. As much as it feels weird to say that, but Steelers are a very good team, and the Eagles have struggled at home. I understand they're at home, and a lot of people view that as an advantage, but I feel like they struggle. And then another thing is in these really big games for the Eagles, it's going to be a question of if Nick Sirianni can outcoach the other coach. And in this situation, Mike Tomlin, I don't think he can. I think this is going to be a very close game. It'll definitely be something that, will be monitored throughout the week. But the Eagles here, they have one of the best rushing attacks in the league with Saquon Barkley, obviously. But if there's any defense that's going to be able to stop them or at least mitigate that problem, it's going to be the Steelers defense with TJ Watt. They're going to force him to throw the ball, and it's going to make life a living hell for TJ Watt's opponent being Jalen Hurts. I do think that this is going to be a fun game. Definitely one of the best games of the week. If it wasn't for Bills-Lions, this would be the game of the week, in my opinion. But I have to lean with the Steelers in this one. My gut's just telling me that the Steelers have some fight left. Go ahead and give me that win. 24-21. Steelers Nation, I told you I was going to ride with you, and here I am backing it up. Give me the Steelers.
All right. I do agree with you. The Steelers do have some fight left in them, but they do not have enough fight in them for this week. Give me the Philadelphia Eagles to win this one.
Let's go.
These are 2 teams with really good defenses, 2 teams that both their offenses have been looking really good, but the one X factor is Saquon Barkley. And I know you mentioned that if any team can limit Saquon Barkley, it's the Pittsburgh Steelers. But I'm going to bring up this game that happened earlier in the season. They were playing the Ravens. They had one of the best rushing defenses in the league. They did limit Saquon Barkley, but he still had over 100 yards rushing. Saquon Barkley is going to be the difference. If Saquon Barkley can make a big play in this game might go the Eagles' way. But if the Steelers can prevent those big plays from happening, especially from Saquon Barkley, the Steelers will have a great chance to win this one. So give me the Eagles to win this one. I'm going to bank on my best fantasy player in Saquon Barkley to get the win. And I'm also riding with the team that I picked to go to the Super Bowl, by the way, in the Philadelphia Eagles. Still throwing that out there. So give me the Eagles to beat the Steelers and keep pace with the Lions still for that number 1 seed in the conference. As we move on to a big jump of games right here from a really good game to this. We got the 3-10 New England Patriots traveling into Arizona to take on the slightly disappointing Cardinals here, who, we both picked them to beat Seattle last week, and they kind of shit the bed again against Seattle. So hopefully for the Cardinals, they can pull out a game here. But who do you got winning this one?
I think this one's interesting. I understand the Patriots are eliminated and they don't have much to play for, but I do think that the Patriots offer a lot of different matchups that are very good against this Cardinals team. However, give me the Arizona Cardinals in this one. They just need it so much more at this point. Being 6-7, they're trying to keep pace for that final playoff spot, really, considering the only way they get in at this point is if they win that division. With how good the Commanders have been playing, how we expect the Commanders to continue playing, the real only way the Cardinals can make that playoff spot is by winning the NFC West. They draw one game closer to doing so in this game. It's still a huge uphill climb in this moment, but I do think they do enough in this game. 31-21, a little higher scoring game, but the Cardinals have been better at home this season. They're going to show that again in this game. Give me Arizona 31-21 to take down New England.
Yeah, I feel like at this point, I feel like the Cardinals have been, kind of maybe struggling a bit. They've been getting back to a little inconsistent form after having a little bit of a win streak there in the middle of the season. But, just knowing what the potential of this Cardinals team can be, you got to go with the Arizona Cardinals in this game, especially going up against a lowly Patriots team. Drake May can make any game super exciting and super close. And you can really bring them within range of winning the game. But I think Kyler Murray and that offense is going to make one more play than that Patriots offense does. And like you said, they've been the better team at home as of late, even though, the Seahawks did beat them at home last week. So, but still, give me the Cardinals to win this one nonetheless. Patriots have to travel nearly across the entire country to play this game as well. So give me the Cardinals to win this one. And, keep pace in the NFC West, even though it's not looking too good after the Seahawks swept them in their first place right now. So we'll see how that all shakes out, but I got the Cardinals winning this one as well. As we move on to an AFC West rivalry matchup, it is the 6-7 Colts at the 8-5 Broncos. Not AFC West rivalry matchup. I just realized what I said. Sorry.
It says AFC West for the Colts on that too.
God, yeah. They didn't even used to play in. They used to play in the AFC East. That I know. Jesus. But yeah, big
second in AFC West with a 6-7 record, but the Broncos, who have an 8-5
record. Oh my God, I put that
third.
too. I didn't even notice that.
So the Colts have, hear me out. The Colts are 6-7, but they have they've won 4 games against Denver this season apparently because they're second in the AFC West, and the Broncos are third. I don't know how that.
This is what I get for making this last second.
Oh jeez.
But anyways, Colts, they just in the power rankings, they're just better than the Colts, right? Or not the Colts, the Broncos right now.
They're better than the Colts.
Thomas, who do you have winning this one? The Colts or the Colts?
I think that the Colts are a horseshoe. The Broncos are the horse. I think that makes a lot of sense in this one because a horseshoe is what they step on, and the Broncos are going to step on them in this game. Go ahead and give me Denver 24-20. I think it'll be a close game. Richardson always manages to keep it close, especially against really good defenses like Denver. So for some reason, I feel like he's going to be solid in this game. However, I do think that the Colts aren't going to be able to overcome their issues. This will be the dagger in their season. Literally, this will end the Colts' playoff chances if they don't win the division for the AFC West. Just kidding. If they win the AFC South. So realistically, because of that, they're going to end up having to go the long way and take down Houston, which will also be a very big issue for them. So unfortunately for the Colts, if the Texans win and then the Colts lose, their season will be officially over. Sorry to Indianapolis. I think that is probably the route, at least for your game. Give me Denver to win this one between 2 AFC West teams.
You're never going to let that go, man.
Never.
Never. Give me the Broncos to win this one. The Broncos have just been the way more consistent team this season. Feels like for the Colts, they always have some really good offensive performance, especially from Anthony Richardson, and then they just struggle on offense for the next 5 or so weeks. So, and Bo Nix has been having a really good stretch as of late. He's arguably the rookie of the year right now. Obviously, I think Jaden Daniels might still have the edge just with how good he was in the beginning half of the season. But regardless, give me the Broncos.
Brock Bowers.
Oh yeah, Brock Bowers too. There's been a lot of really good rookies this season. But yeah, give me the Broncos to win this one. Huge game. Pretty close. Yeah, this should end the Colts season here. So It was a good ride for those Colts, but not everyone's going to make the playoffs, so someone had to be eliminated as the Broncos stay alive in this playoff race as the Colts season takes a bad turn as they end their season. As we move on to the game of the week, it is the 10-3 Buffalo Bills, first place in the AFC East, current number 2 seed in the AFC, as they travel into Detroit. Has already punched their playoff ticket as well at 12-1, first in the NFC North, and with the current number 1 seed in the conference. It'd be really cool if this is a Super Bowl matchup just because the Bills would be in it. But who do you have winning the game of the week and the, I don't know, Jim, game of the week here?
Man, I really struggled picking this game, but a lot of Bills fans, including myself, we really want this win. I understand that. However, on the opposite side here, all I've heard all week is the Bills can't lose 2 games in a row. There's no way the Bills would lose 2 games in a row. If you look, we already have lost 2 games in a row this season, and I think we do again. I think until the Lions lose a football game, I'm not picking against them. And on top of that, what's the Bills' worst part about this Bills team right now? It's that run defense. And they looked bad against Kyron Williams last week. They're playing David Montgomery and DeAndre Swift this week. They are not going to have a fun time. On top of that, Amon-Ra St. Brown can be mitigated with Christian Benford. I do think that Jameson Williams is still a solid guy as well. So I do. Why are you laughing?
No, I thought you were making fun of me because you're like, the Bills had to play Kyron Williams last week, and now this week the Bills are going up against David Montgomery and DeAndre Swift.
Oh, yeah, no, not DeAndre Swift. Oh,
it's Jahmyr Gibbs, everybody. Yeah, DeAndre Swift on the Bears. But go ahead.
Did I say DeAndre Swift?
You can rewind the tape later, man. I promise you. You said DeAndre Swift.
Okay, bro. Okay, whatever. David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs.
There you go.
Either way, I do think that being, in my opinion, the best rushing attack in the league, duo in the league, I should say, they are going to put the Bills through a lot in this game. Josh Allen tried to carry him last week, and we saw how that ended. We lost. I feel like if he has to do it a second straight week in a row, while he can do enough to, keep us in the game, it's not going to be enough to get us the win, just like last week. So go ahead and give me the Lions to win this one, 31-27. I think the Bills do put up a good fight in this game. I would love to see Buffalo pull off this upset again, especially since Detroit's, in my opinion, right now, the best team in the league. So Buffalo fans, including myself, don't be discouraged by this game. It is an amazing Detroit Lions team. This could be a Super Bowl preview, but until proven further that they can lose, I have to go ahead and give the Detroit Lions their props, and that is also giving them a victory in this one, 31-27. It's Josh Allen, for the first time in his career, loses to the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, like you said earlier, the Bills' biggest issue you mentioned was the run defense. I'm going to disagree, and I'm going to say the entire defense right now with how they played last week. And I know everyone's expecting me to, give the whole speech on why the Buffalo Bills are going to be winning this game, but I don't see it happening. Give me the Detroit Lions to win this one as well. I think the offense, it's going to be a really good game. It's not going to be as high scoring as it was last week. I don't think that'll happen again. At least hopefully it doesn't, because I have another heart attack. But, the Lions, they are the best team in the league. You just said it. And games like that happened last week, the Bills, or just had a random off game. Like, we've been alluding to it. We've been saying it's going to happen, and it happened. But games like that scare me for this team. And now you're going into the house of what many people believe is the best team in the league, coming off a really huge game, beating the Green Bay Packers. I think this game can be close. I think the Bills can win this game. But I'm going to have to go with the hotter hand right now, and that is in the Detroit Lions to win yet again in advance to 13-1 on the season. As we move along to Sunday Night Football, and speaking of those Packers, we got the 9-4 Packers traveling into Seattle to take the current first place in the AFC, the NFC West, the Seattle Seahawks. The team that Thomas hated on all season long, and look at them sitting at the 3 seed with first place in the West. But yeah, this is a huge game here. A lot of playoff implicating games this week. Who do you have winning this one on Sunday Night Football?
I love that I sound like a hypocrite to all Seahawks fans, but two big things here. I understand you're the 3 seed, but you play in one of the worst divisions in football this season.
Here we
A
go.
team that's been underwhelming all season in that division. The second best team in that division right now is the Rams at 7-6. And on top of that, you also play in the same conference where somebody has to get the 4 seed out of the Falcons or the Buccaneers or the Saints or Panthers. So realistically, you being the 3 seeds, no medal. If anything, it's kind of hilarious to me that the Green Bay Packers are so underrated and they're 9-4, a better record than the Seattle Seahawks. And everyone thinks the Seahawks are washing them in this football game. Give me the Green Bay mother-loving Packers to win this football game. I understand they're on the road in Seattle. I understand the Seahawks have been great as of late, but they're going to get smacked in the mouth in this game. And you know why? Because just like the Miami Dolphins, the Green Bay Packers haven't beaten a team with a winning record. And I guarantee you they're just as pissed off as I would be in that situation that we haven't beaten anybody. We haven't beaten any of these good teams. Our losses are to the Vikings, who have 2 losses on the season, and to the Lions, who have lost 1 game all year. Like, what do you want from them? What do you want from them? And the thing is they have beaten a team with a winning record. It's just one team, and that's the Houston Texans, who you can argue doesn't really count, considering the Texans have played like crap this year. And I get it. But here's the thing. The Seahawks are 8-5. I don't think they're nearly as good as an 8-5 record. I think they're a merchant of a little bit of an easier schedule to start the year. But I do think Seattle keeps this close enough in this game. I think that Green Bay does win, though, 28-20. Jordan Love and this Packers offense is going to get going. And the one thing about the Seahawks that they can't do, and it's been exposed a couple times, especially when they lost to the Lions early in the year and they give up 40-plus points to them on Monday night, is when there's a lot of different receivers you have to cover, they cannot do it. They cannot do that. And in this kind of a game where you have Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, everybody else that you can really mention on that offense, Christian Watson, Josh Jacobs, Tucker Kraft, Luke Musgrave, you can keep going. Whoever it is, the Packers like to distribute the ball evenly. That makes them so deadly for this kind of a team like Seattle. Go ahead and give me the Seahawks to lose 28-20. Packers get a quality win so people can shut up on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, I do got something to say about the Green Bay Packers, by the way. Even though they did lose last week to the Lions, that Packers team that, like, at the beginning of the season, everyone's like, oh yeah, I think this team is in the Super Bowl window. I think this team is just about there. It's just about fully developing all these talented players and then actually going out there and winning a Super Bowl. And I think the Packers are beginning to reach that territory right now. Even though they did lose, I feel like they showed to me last week that the Packers team that we expect in the beginning of the season is here. I think that Packers team has finally made it into the conversation here. I got the Packers winning this one. I'm not trying to take away anything from Seattle in this game. I think they're a really solid team. I don't think they're a great team. Packers, I think, are entering that territory of being a great football team right now. And plus for Seattle, they I feel like they kind of just have the Cardinals number right now because they had 2 really impressive wins. I'm sure they had a couple more in there, but 2 of their impressive wins so far this season have both been against the Arizona Cardinals here. And that's those 2 games, the only reason why they're sitting in first place and at 3 seed right now in the playoffs. So give me the Packers to win this one and to cement themselves really as one of those top tier contenders in the NFC, along with Detroit, along with Philadelphia, potentially along with Minnesota as well, because Minnesota still has not gone anywhere. They're sitting at 11-2 right now. And speaking of those Minnesota Vikings, going into some Monday Night Football, the first of 2 Monday Night Football games this Monday, this one being on ABC, where they get to host the 4-9 Chicago Bears, where if the Bears lose this one, their season is over. So big game for the Bears, even though it's like less than a 1% chance to really even make the playoffs at this point. For the Vikings, they are still on a heater right now. Sam Darnold had his best game as a pro last week. Jordan Addison had 3 touchdowns. Justin Jefferson had 2 touchdowns. Offense has been humming. Did they keep humming in this one, or did the Bears stall out that offense a bit?
See, I just want to mention one thing. I called it last week when I said that there's always that one team where they switch coaches midway through the season and the interim coach effect does not kick in. And that was
Bears.
Thomas Brown and the Chicago Bears coaching as they got smacked by the 49ers. And I think they're not going to win this game either. I do think that they keep it a little bit closer, being a division rivalry game. But a couple weeks ago, when the Bears and the Vikings played the first time, I had the Bears winning that game. However, this time around, there's no way in hell I will ever pick Chicago to win another game this season. I don't care if they play the Giants at this point. I don't know what it is about this Bears team, but for some reason they find the stupidest ways to lose football games, and I think they're going to continue to find those ways in these games. I think the Vikings really are just trying to keep pace with those Detroit Lions as well, and I think they're going to be one of the best teams in this league still. I think they play pretty well in this one. A 27-17 victory over the Chicago Bears in the first of two Monday Night Football games. I do think Chicago is a quality team, and at the time that I picked them last time, they had Eberflus still. I thought they had a little hope. Now that they have Thomas Brown in there, I feel like they're going the opposite direction, unfortunately for them. So go ahead and give me Minnesota.
Yeah, I want to thank the Chicago Bears real quick for absolutely nothing and just making me look stupid last week. I really appreciate that. But I'm not going to make that mistake in picking the Bears again. Give me the Minnesota Vikings to win this one. I just felt like for me, the Bears were close to winning a football game for so long.
Yeah, it makes
going
so
to
much
San
sense.
Francisco against the banged up Niners team. And I was like, you know what? I think this is finally the game. And then they get absolutely blown out and destroyed. So, yeah, and the Vikings are a much better football team than the San Francisco 49ers are. So, give me the Vikings to win this one in decisive manner. Advance to 12-2 on the season. I don't know why. I don't think it's going to happen, but my gut is telling me somehow, some way, the Vikings are going to pull out and win this NFC North. If that actually happens, that'd be insane. But both got the Vikings here in this one as we move on to the final Monday night game of the week. And it's a revenge game. It's Desmond Ridder going up against his former team in the Atlanta Falcons. It is in Las Vegas, though, not in Atlanta. So the Falcons have to deal with two revenge games back to back. Raiders obviously already eliminated from the playoffs. Aiden O'Connell got injured. So that's why Desmond Ridder is playing this week. And Kirk Cousins still starting for the Falcons. Yeah, it's kind of sad to see that that's kind of like a discussion right now that, you know, like maybe they should start Michael Penix because Kirk Cousins has been playing like absolute trash right now so far. So who do you got winning this game? And do you have a revenge game actually happening?
You're just like me. Trash. I think that the Falcons win this game. I've been saying it for the last couple weeks, and including a stupid loss last week to the Vikings where I don't know what I was cooking up on that one either. But who would have thought that the team with a quarterback coach is now their new head coach was going to get blown out? So that's all I want to say on your behalf. But anyway, for the Bears. But either way, though, for the Falcons' sake in this game, they better win this football game. They absolutely have to. And if they win this game, they'll be back in first in the NFC South, as we predicted the Bucs to lose to the Chargers. So there's that as well. I do think that Desmond Ridder is not going to play hero ball in this game. He's not going to come out with like, oh, they got rid of me. They got rid of me. And he's going to come out and be all amazing or something. I don't think that's going to happen. I think this is going to be a pretty lower scoring game. But I do think the Falcons pull this one out 24-13, taking down Las Vegas in LA. Las Vegas as well, I meant, sorry. So go ahead and give me the Falcons in this game. Kirk O'Chains gets it back, and ironically on a Monday night. So give me the Falcons.
Yeah, there you go. The Raiders have been playing, I feel like, tough football the past couple weeks, except for that second half against Tampa Bay. Things went out of their grasp a little bit in that game, but I got a gut feeling that's telling me to pick the Raiders here, but I'm going to go with the Falcons. I feel like going with the Raiders might be a little bit too bold here, especially when you know the potential of this Falcons team, and they haven't shown it for quite a while now. This just feels like a get-right game here for the Falcons, and considering they just lost the division for now to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, this game is really, it feels like a must-win right now for them. And if they don't win this game, I feel like it's basically season over for them at this point. So give me the Falcons to win this one. Kirk Cousins going to play a bit better football, hopefully not throw as many interceptions as he has in weeks past, and get the win here to get back to 500 on the season. is that'll do it for us on a Week 15's edition of the OT Podcast. If you guys appreciate, I appreciate you guys, first and foremost. Yeah, keep hoisting that trophy. If you guys enjoyed the video, thumbs up would be greatly appreciated. Want to follow us, subscribe, all that fun stuff would be greatly appreciated as well. I'll leave our socials in the description below, and I don't believe there's anything else you want to say, is there?
No, other than the fact, go Bills!
Yes, go Bills. And yeah, I don't got much else to say except Life Forms out.